this year was actually Leah's first ever time going to therapy.
I mean, to be honest, I cried a lot.
Hey team, welcome back to another episode. Today Leah and I are taking you out on a little forest walk adventure to talk about something that many of you have asked us to talk about.
That is therapy. Yay!
More specifically, our experience with therapy. We're not professionals. We don't have any expertise, but it's something that we've done, and hopefully this video can be helpful or enlightening or interesting for any of you considering taking on therapy into your life. So we decided to make this video after a bunch of you asked us to make it in response to an Instagram story.
We decided to film this not in our living room, obviously, but here in the forest, because that's been a really huge thing to help with our mental health.
Now, we have both been to therapy in different capacities over the years, and this year was actually Leah's first ever time going to therapy.
I think before I went to therapy, I thought that I needed to have some major life event or trauma that happened in order to have enough reason to go, and I realized that's not really the case. I mean, to be honest, I cried a lot. Every session with our therapist, I cry. That's a big thing for me in terms of processing kind of complex emotions. I just need to cry about it and maybe like hiccup my way through an explanation until I come to hopefully some sort of clarity.
So over the last 10 years, I have been to 4 different therapists at 4 very different times of my life. Probably the most powerful therapy experience that I had was when I developed my heart condition back in 2011. I was 18 years old and I had a cardiac arrest. And as a part of my rehabilitation, I was taken into St. Paul's Hospital and I went to therapy twice a week for 8 weeks in a row. And this was, quite honestly, one of the most transformative experiences I think I've had in my life. Having that much time to reflect and think. And obviously, you don't need to have a huge monumental health crisis to inspire you to go to therapy. And obviously, not everyone is going to be able to go as many times as I did, but it just solidified for me the importance of seeing a professional about your mental health. Why did we go to couples therapy, my love?
I think a lot of people think that you need to go to couples therapy if your relationship is in crisis. And it's not that our relationship was in crisis, it was we were having some difficulty navigating our independence, or rather our codependence on each other, and how do we get some external help to help us set some more healthy boundaries.
I've learned recently that I am an introvert and that I depend pretty heavily on my partner, whether it was Leah or any of my exes. I have a pattern of this, okay? I find a person, I nest with them, and I kind of lean on them for a lot of the social and emotional stability that I have in my life. It's a nice way of saying I'm a bit of a gong show.
I wasn't gonna say you're needy, but... And it's funny because for me, I found that even though we were in a big social setting, I can be quite quiet, but I'm actually an extrovert. I get a lot of my energy from being around other people. And the pandemic really showed that to me, that I can't just be with one person all the time. I really need my family, my friends, my support system, because being without them is really tough on my mental health. I was recently watching a clip from Esther Perel's podcast, and she's the author of State of Affairs and Mating in Captivity, and she was talking about how in our relationships, we need to balance love and desire, and it's like you're walking, right? You don't just walk on one foot, you're always going back and forth between the two. So being able to balance and recognize that there are certain times in your relationship you're gonna need more than one of the other, that's okay, and just knowing that communicating with each other, checking in on where you're at and what your needs are, that's where most like relationship breakdown and issues show up, where we just aren't communicating what we need in that moment, or assuming that what we need is the same thing that our partner needs, and that is not the case.
I am an anxious person. I've dealt with anxiety my whole life, and what I learned through therapy is the patterns that happen with my anxiety. a lot of the issues that I was experiencing in our relationship were due to anxieties that I've had that manifested in different ways. And over the years, I've developed coping mechanisms and ways of managing that anxiety. This was just a new context for it. And so therapy is just this place where you can unpack and organize and sort through all of the baggage that you have in your head. Because if you don't externalize all the things that are stuck up there, it can just feel like a massive cloud of incomprehensible stuff, and it feels very stressful.
What's been particularly helpful for me is to think about setting my own boundaries. So not necessarily in Levi and I's relationship, but also my relationships with all people.
Yeah.
As I realized, I tend to burn out because I'm an empath. I'm a people pleaser. I go above and beyond for other people, but I don't show myself that same courtesy.
Oof. That was good. That was good.
Yeah.
Did you steal that from someone? Because
No, actually.
that was.
No, I know that. Thank you. No, I just, all that therapy, right? And one thing that our therapist has really helped me with is talking about the difference between giving and giving in. When are we giving in? When are we not holding anything in reserve for ourselves? And when we don't do that, we can't help the other people in our lives. If we're not looking after ourselves and making sure that we're getting what we need, you're just gonna burn out. Like, you're just not gonna be able to fully show up for people in the way that you want to.
So we advocate for therapy in any social circumstance that we possibly can. We are therapy evangelists. We always tell people that they need to go to therapy. And so often we hear people say, well, my life isn't that bad. I don't have any real trauma. Why would I go to therapy? And I explained this to Leah's mom, actually. I said, look, you are a mother of 3 kids. You're a grandmother to 4 grandchildren. You are a wife to your husband. You're a friend. You are a mentor. You're a community member. You are such a diverse person in your individuality. And the stronger that you are as a person, the more grounded you are, the more capable you are to support everyone else who hasn't gone to therapy.
I think there's a lot of privilege in being able to access therapy.
Yes.
It can be very expensive. Sometimes you have to get on a wait list for a long period of time. But more and more, we're finding online options and pay what you can. And we're going to share some links to ones that we know about down below.
Think of mental health as an investment in yourself. Like, you aren't just going to buy a house and live in it until it crumbles to the ground. You put money into that thing because that thing is what makes your life better. If you take therapy for 5 years, you will learn so much about yourself and what you love and what you appreciate and what you need that you will make the next 15 years so much better. I really feel like we're selling something.
I know. It sounds like we're selling. Neither of us are therapists.
No.
There's no sponsor for this video.
Yeah, BetterHelp is not involved. We are not sponsored by them.
Deal. I guess the other thing I want to say, though, is that our context is constantly changing. Like, the only normal thing in our lives is that change, that evolvement of who we are and the environment that we're living in. And so it's not like you go to therapy once and you're like, oh, great, I'm fixed. My brain's all good. You can go to therapy multiple times throughout your life, right?
Yeah.
And sometimes it's going once a week, sometimes it's going once a year. It really depends.
We talk about intentional living on this channel all the time, and it's often through the lens of sustainability or minimalism or something like that, but way too often overlooked is the importance of living intentionally from a personal health standpoint. If you are a person who is stressed out all the time, then how are you supposed to live an intentional and low impact lifestyle?
If we were all taught from a young age that fully feeling our emotions and that breadth of emotions, that it's okay to feel sorrow, to feel grief, to feel joy, and all of these things, then we would just be so much better at articulating what we need, articulating what we want, and not hurting each other's feelings by getting confused about what do you need? What do I need? Why are we not communicating effectively?
I think we should just give every adult human free therapy. I don't want to say it, but like, there might not be a war between Russia and Ukraine if Putin got therapy. Give that boy a therapist.
Yeah, he needs a lot of things.
He needs a lot of things. Therapy, number one. Anyways, we hope that this little forest talk has been helpful or insightful or maybe the push you needed. If you did like this video, make sure that you remember to literally like it down below.
We really appreciate you taking the time out of your day to sit here in the forest with us and talk about mental health. So we hope that you're doing okay, and we're thinking of you wherever you are.
All right, everybody. We'll see you in the next one.
Bye.
Hey team, welcome back to another episode. Today, Leah and I are taking a lovely walk in the forest to tell you about our experience. Jesus! Oh my God, there she is! Oh no!
Oh,
hello,
hello.
friends. Wow. Oh my God! Oh my God! Yes, hello. This is an enormous animal.
I'm doing well. How are you?
Oh, yes, hello. Yes, hello. Yes, hello. What is going on with this dog? What are you doing? What is this?
Very happy. Hey, Hudson.
Oh my God, that's amazing.